Hey y'all, I'm back this week, and the movie I'm reviewing is Spider-Man: Homecoming. Now, you all know I love my superhero movies. Spider-Man was more of my sister's kind of thing, but I do like me some Spider-Man because he is Marvel. So I'm going to talk about some pros. One pro is it was actually funny. Now, it wasn't like Deadpool funny, like the adults weren't like, side splitting, and it wasn't like kind of like adulty kind of humor, but it was funny for like a superhero action movie. A lot of the times, the humor is kind of like forced, and it's just kind of like, well, this is a very serious moment. Let's lighten it up with a joke, and the joke is kind of like off, and you kind of give it a pity laugh, and you're just like, this is gonna have to do. But this movie actually had some good jokes in it, and it also having him be a younger version of Spider-Man, he's going through that like awkward phase that we all went through, and like the situations he in, we find those kind of situations funny, because a lot of the times these superhero movies, we're seeing them as adults, and adult life isn't funny, it's very serious, and it's hard to add everyday humor and everyday funny scenarios to it. So I think, having him younger and the writing, it actually had the funny moments actually be funny, and it didn't feel forced. It also was it had good action shots, It made it seem like, that stuff was actually really happening, and you were flying through New York, and, it was like real, it was like there. Sometimes you can tell where it's like, oh, like I know that's CGI, and like obviously we do know that's CGI, but it was actually a really good action-y type movie. For like, that's kind of expected of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially like these days. These action superhero movies, there's an expectation that, it has to be met for these like action-y kind of like, you want to feel the wind in your hair type feelings. And I think that Spider-Man: Homecoming actually did that pretty well. So, they just, have to take it the next step for, future. It also was emotional in the fact where you could connect with this Peter Parker, because if you read the comics, he's an awkward teenager, high school, all that kind of stuff, and he goes through some shit, So, it becomes emotional in the fact that, you can connect with him. And it also had some down moments, like obviously in the original Spider-Man, when Uncle Ben dies for the 600th millionth time, you do get emotion, and you're just like, Uncle Ben, why? But, there are other emotions than just like sadness, and you do feel good throughout this movie. And I think that's really important to superhero movies in general, where it's not just kind of like, you comatose out, but there's something there, to keep you interested. But there are cons to every movie. The one major thing that hit me was the Ant was oddly young. Like, I get it, this is like a younger Spider-Man, so everyone else had to be young too. But like, his Ant was just like weirdly young, especially if you compare it to like other Spider-Man movies. And I know like you can't really do that because it's different timelines, blah, 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 blah. But like the Ant was just like oddly young, and I was like, I'm kind of uncomfortable with like his age and like the Ant's age. But, we'll look that over Hollywood for now. Another aspect that personally I thought was a con was there was just so much Iron Man. And if you watch the the latest Avenger movie, you get like his placement in here, and his connection and his role, it was important. But personally, I'm tired of Iron Man. Like he's gotten so many movies, he's the face of the Avengers, he's all this stuff. I am tired of Iron Man. He's done. Like, can you spotlight some other superheroes every now and then? Just saying. There's also some forced jokes in there where it was kind of like the writing didn't know where to go with something, so they just threw in a joke, and you did give the pity laughs, and you're just like, haha, that's funny, because you didn't know how else to react. So they did have those thrown in there, which I think is kind of like a con. You just got to iron out that writing there, directors. Step it up. Do I want more? Sure, why not? I love superhero movies, so bring them on. Spider-Man, this is like the third set, so once we get to the end of this, there's gonna be a lot of Spider-Man movies, but, bring them on. And I wanna see these new, villains, I wanna see those. And there's so much you can do with Spider-Man if you follow the comic books, so I'm just waiting. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we have Brandon with this week's box office top 5, and later we have Tiffany and Nayland with this week's hottest celebrity news. Don't miss it.